All right, we're going to get started here with what we got going on here, and I know most of the guys are probably hungry, and everybody's probably hungry, so we'll get started with that. But before we do that, I just want to welcome everybody for being here. Appreciate everybody coming. I know there's a lot of people that couldn't make it, but we're excited about the group that's here and talking about the season and giving out some awards and recognizing people that deserve recognition, and that's everybody in this room for sure. And so got some special awards and things that we want to recognize guys with, and so that's kind of what we got going on. But first, we're gonna eat, and before we do that, we'll have Mr. Governor Zach Gores come up and do a prayer for us quick.
Will you guys pray with me? Dear Lord, we just thank you for the many blessings you have provided us within and through football and just in life. I thank you for the brothers and families that have gathered here tonight, the travel that you've and safety you have given us. Lord, I ask that you be with us in conversation, continue to bless the food to our bodies, and help us realize how good we have it here. In your name we pray. Amen.
All right, so we're going to give some instructions here in terms of food order. Like I said, then we'll get into the program, and I only got about 10 really bad jokes that we're going to talk about, and then talk for about 3 or 4 hours and get out of here. But other than that, so this was a big conversation before in terms of starting in the middle, starting at the ends. Where we do that? I'm pretty sure in the fall we started in the middle. So the plan was to start on the outside, but since Troy Lauenburg's here in a suit coat, I figured that's kind of a big deal. So we're actually going to start in the middle again. So and there's a lot of seniors in there, so those guys kind of get the nod. But so we'll start in the middle. If you guys want to go out the outside doors and then go through the food lines and then come back through the middle, that would be great. So go ahead. This table. Why don't you 3 tables right here kind of get started and. It's still attached, I know that, so that's progress, but it doesn't, yeah, terrible. All right, we're gonna, whoa, hey, all right, cool. We're gonna get started here with some thank yous and moving on with our awards and things like that. But first, just there is extra food out there, so if you guys are still hungry, make sure you guys get out there and clean it up. A couple of you guys maybe not. Dieterman for sure out there. A couple more times. All right. So we got a few thank yous here we want to talk about and get into quick. Just our physical plant and Sandy and Kevin for helping set up all the tables. Byron and Eric for doing our IT stuff and our technology stuff and our PowerPoints and presentations. Fresh ideas for the food. Our administration, Kurt Hart, John Hart, Amy Novak, Marlene. She's not necessarily administration, but I'm scared of Marlene, and so I listen to whatever she says. So I make sure I put her in there. But our sports information director, Ian, and all the stuff he does for us, and our associate SID, Zach Ryherd, who does most of our graphics, who's here tonight. So that's good. All the cool stuff he does, or you see on our Twitter, I usually have nothing to do with outside of maybe posting it. So our admission staff and for our game day visits and our visits throughout the winter, Coach Hobbs and his wife Ashley helped set up basically everything here, and Coach Ward, they did a phenomenal job of setting it up. We give them a hand, I'd appreciate it. A couple more thank yous here. Our athletic training staff, Travis Olson and some of the student trainers that he had. I know Ben's here. Ben Gannon helped us out. Unfortunately they were a little busy this year with different things, injury-wise, but they did a great job. KMIT and Tim Smith and Bob Spring, our faculty, our staff, parents. Thanks for everything that you guys do for our kids and for us and supporting us, whether that's being at games, being at events like this. It's a huge deal to us. And our host parents. If you're a host parent, could you stand up? I know we don't have all of them here, but I know there's quite a few of them here. If you're a host parent, could you please stand up? Just a little bit about our host parents. We talk about host parents a lot in recruiting. We had over 100 kids on campus for visits this winter, and that's actually something that we talk about specifically in terms of host parents and what you do for our kids and being available. You obviously aren't getting compensated at all outside of maybe a couple free meals here and there, but we appreciate it big time, and it makes a big difference for our program, so we appreciate that. There's three other people I want to mention before we get into our coaches and introducing our coaches. We had three student assistants this year that were phenomenal. Unbelievable amount of work that they did, and just did quality work. I mean, it's one thing to have people that you can, hey, go do this, go do that, but when they're doing things without being told, it makes our jobs a lot easier. So Maria's here. Maria did almost all of our filming on the road at practice, and so we appreciate her coming. Tyler Larson and Miles Burkink, those guys are unbelievable, and so give them a hand. I'd like to introduce our coaches real quick. First time in the last three, I guess, off seasons that we haven't had any coaching changes, which is really good. So let's start with our offensive staff. Coach Ensley, our offensive coordinator, our recruiting coordinator, our offensive line coach, his wife Cassie, and Cooper's here. So appreciate them. Lance Burrow does our community service coordinating, and he's done a phenomenal job with that this offseason as well. Also coached our quarterbacks. His wife Caitlin and daughter Harper are here. Coach Joyner is our wide receiver coach, and his wife couldn't make it tonight. But is that where we're at in this? Pretty close. Okay. Talk to him about it. He likes talking about it. Coach McGee, Coach McGee's our running back coach and also helps with our coordinating our video and stuff. And we really didn't have a lot of problems with our video and things like that. And Coach McGee did a great job. Coach Foster, our special teams coordinator, our academic coordinator, and our linebacker coach. Coach Ward, our defensive line coach, and Coach Weidenbach couldn't be here tonight. His daughter has a basketball game, but Coach Weidenbach does an unbelievable amount of things for our kids, for our coaches, for myself. He's a huge asset to our program and to our team. And, there's a lot of things that go unnoticed that he does for us. And, you talk to some of these guys that have been around Coach Weidenbach for a while, and in some way, shape, or form, he's probably helped them out or been there for them at some point. And so we really appreciate him. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to thank my wife, Linda. She's here and basically, keeping our house intact while I'm not around. And, we got a porter. We got a guy. He's something else, and so she gets him under control, and that's a big deal. So we appreciate that. But so we're kind of it's talking to some of the coaches and even some of these guys. It's kind of crazy to think that we're already at this point. We just had our recruiting class released on Wednesday. We have a signing day party tomorrow, and so it's really kind of the definition of a transition for us in terms of kind of putting a bow on last season, and tomorrow officially starts 2020, and it goes so fast, and everybody says that, and I know senior guys always talk about that, and it's true. And so just a couple things I wanted to mention about the season overall, and obviously if you're talking about records and things like that, probably not where we wanted to end up. It wasn't where we wanted to end up, but just some things that I wanted to mention. We had 68 total guys on our roster last year. That's unbelievably small. There's some unbelievable challenges that come with that, and these guys handled it. We switched our practice schedule, I think 3 or 4 times. We switched our off day halfway through the season, and guys never complained about it. We got starters playing scout team, and then we're flipping it, and these guys did a great job. These kids did a great job, and so. But out of those 68 players, 47 out of 68 were in their first or second year of eligibility, which is almost 70%. And so we were young. We did a lot of young things at times, some really good young things, some really not so good young things. But overall, we were young, and a lot of guys stepped up in some critical roles, and it was fun to see that, and fun to see guys working out right now and getting better and doing that. Just a couple highlights, I guess, for me throughout the season. I mean, obviously a shutout versus presentation was huge. That was a lot of fun. Anytime you can get a shutout and play well is really good. And really going 2-0 in our last games. I think our team we had an unbelievable team. This senior class did an unbelievable job with our kids and managing everything. And, I thought our team was really, really good. And obviously it doesn't show up in our records, but when you win your last 2 games, I think it does say something about guys staying the course and continuing to get better, and I think we did that. And then on that last game, having what we call our senior victory. And we've been able to do our senior victory, have our seniors on the field every single year besides one. And that was 2 seasons ago, 2018. And, that's always a critical thing. Number one, you got to be ahead. Number two, you have to have the football. And we were able to do that, and to see all those guys get on the field and be on the field together at one time, that's a pretty special thing. Probably one of my most favorite things of any season. And being able to get back on track with that and see on all those guys on the field was a big deal. And so that was a really big highlight for me. I do want to introduce our captains from this year. We had some unbelievable captains and some unbelievable leadership. And I can't say enough about these guys, but our captains, we had 6 captains this year. For the first time ever, we've had 6 captains. We usually have 4, and all these guys were deserving. And so our defensive captains, Mitch Johnson, Tyler Wagner, and Ethan Gaulke. Our offensive captains, Zach Ryherd, Luke Lauenburg, and Ben Gustad. Let's give those guys a hand. So we're going to move into just our actual awards part of things, and we're going to start with our academic awards first. And these are really just classified by our standards and our classifications. In terms of the NAI Scholar Athletes, the NAI has kind of changed that, and so they do that at the end of the end of the school year instead of after each season. So we'll have some guys in here. Hopefully that'll be NAIA Scholar athletes. We won't know until the end of the year, which is kind of a bummer. But we still have some guys that we want to recognize. Obviously, being in the classroom for us is a big deal. The last 6 years we've been in the top 5 in the country in terms of team GPA, and that's a lot of credit to our professors and our coaches in terms of monitoring it, but it's also a credit to our guys just putting in work. And I mean, when you're talking about being that consistent, obviously there's a certain way of doing things, and our guys are doing that, and our coaches are doing that. And so I want to talk about just our academics here. I got to figure, okay, there we go. So our guys on our roster this year, if you could just stand up when your name is mentioned, guys that had above a 3.0 for the fall semester, TJ Benton, Logan Bush, Anthony De La Torre, Chaden Fitzsimmons, Tate Gale, Tate Larson, Zach Lester, Keel Nelson, Spencer Negebauer, Chance Newton, Jacob Oxis, Nate Ruprecht, Zach Reiher, Jacob Schaefer, Hayden Schmidt, Chance Sorensen, and Trevor Wilkinson. All these guys had above a 3.0 for the fall. Our next group of guys had above a 3.3 GPA, and again, please stand when your name is called. Cooper Caskey, Matt Davis, Ben Gustad, Sam Henderson, Dawson Kurzman, Malcolm Mueller, Matt Schwarzler, and Dom Warmbine. And our last group here, above a 3.6 GPA. 11 total guys on here: Jamin Aaron, Emmanuel Christopher, Adam DeYoung, Josh Gary, Cameron Gaulke, Zach Gores, Mitch Johnson, Sam Kretschmar, Caden Milmine, Max Schoenfelder, and Tyler Wagner. So we had 38 guys total on our roster, and again, that's over half our team. And again, credit to those guys and what they were doing in the classroom. They're busy, okay, and they're doing things all the time. And so to be able to focus academically is a big deal. And if I miss somebody, I apologize. Like I said, Coach Ward set it up, so blame him. But no, I'm just kidding. With that, we'll move on to our all-conference awards. If Coach Ensley would come up, help me out here a little bit. But I'm going to recognize our all-conference list. And again, maybe a tough season in terms of record and whatever else, but we did have some guys that got recognized as all-conference guys, very deserving. When you guys come up, we actually need you guys to come up, actually, instead of standing. So once your name is called. So our honorable mention all-conference guys from last season, Daniel Leibolt at wide receiver, Alan Mertick at defensive line, and Cody Reichelt at linebacker. If you guys would come on up here. Stay up here. Leibolt couldn't make it tonight, so it's unfortunate, but he would be up here. Just imagine him up here too. Our second team all-conference. We had 2 guys second team all-conference. Tyler Wagner at linebacker and Spencer Negebauer at wide receiver. And we did have a first-team all-conference honoree, Spencer Negebauer, as a kickoff return specialist. So this is our group of all-conference guys. Again, very, very deserving group, and got some of these guys coming back, and unfortunately a couple of them are graduating, but very deserving, and quite frankly, I wasn't super happy about how our all-conference voting went, but that's the way it is, and to get these guys recognized was a big deal. So thanks for coming up, guys. Appreciate it. Maybe another hand for these guys. Our next award is Coach Weidenbach's. He's got a character award that he does He's been doing it for the last couple years, the Adam Borman Award. And Ben Gannon's going to actually give that award out. So let Ben come on up here. There's Ben. So let Ben give out this award. Ben was actually the recipient of this award as well. And so we'll let Ben take over here.
I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about this. No, but enough of that. So Tim, he couldn't make it here today. He asked me if I could present it, which I'm more than honored to do. Tim has been awesome for us, him and Higher Power Sports and the impact he's making in South Dakota. If you've been affected by Tim positively, which I'm sure it's only been positive, raise your hand. So, that's just the impact Tim has had. And so for him to create an award for Dakota Wesleyan football, that's awesome. So a little bit about this award. It's called the Adam Borman Man of Character Award, and it's given each year to honor a player who exemplifies the qualities of being a great teammate on and off the field, working hard in the classroom, dedication to becoming the best football player he can be, attention to detail, leadership, and coachability. Now, it's no surprise when I announce who earned this award. Seeing him from when he first showed up on campus to seeing him play his last game. It's an honor to be up here to give him this award, and it's also an honor to share the same birthday, Tyler Wagner.
Thanks, Ben. Ben did a great job of describing that. And again, very, very deserving for Tyler to get that. And Coach Weidenbach will be getting in touch with you about that, but very deserving. So moving on with our team awards, we have some awards here that are voted on by the players. Okay, so as coaches, all we do is distribute the ballots and count them up and tally them up. To me, these are pretty important just from the standpoint of, this is a peer voted on award. And obviously in just about every single category, there's probably multiple guys that can be very deserving of these, and there are multiple guys that are very deserving of these. But we're going to start with our offensive scout team players of the year. And playing on the scout team is probably the hardest job to do in college football. Number one, you're not doing anything that you've been taught in terms of offense or defense, and you're just expected to do it better than the team that we're going to play. And so for guys to buy into this, we had multiple guys. We give out a weekly award to scout team players of the week, and the guys that we're going to mention here, especially starting with the offensive guys, multiple nominees, multiple awards for both these guys. Did a tremendous job. Looking forward to see them on our offensive side of the ball and actually doing our stuff. Our two offensive scout team players of the year are Isaac Mack Alston and Jordan Eder. And our defensive scout team players of the year, again, two guys that, as coaches, we have meetings about practice and how it's going, and, the offensive coaches are asking how the offensive guys are doing and defensive coaches, and these two guys defensively, their names were brought up multiple times, guys that were just constantly giving great effort, constantly giving a great look, and really making our team better. And our defensive scout team players of the year this year, Taziah Owens and Miles Davis. All right. Our next award is Rookie of the Year, okay? And Rookie of the Year is any new player in our program, whether they're a transfer, whether they're a freshman, somebody that came in and really new to our program that made a tremendous impact. And again, I mean, we just talked about how many young guys, how many new guys we had. This list, when we tallied the votes, was the longest list that we had in terms of nominees. And I think that says a lot about our guys. I think it says a lot about the talent and the newcomers on our team and the guys that did a tremendous job. But one guy that, you know, kind of ran away with it towards the end in terms of tallying the votes, towards the end of the year had an unbelievable season. Really a huge factor for us offensively. Hopefully he went and ate a couple more potatoes. But Rookie of the Year, Garrett Dieterman. Our next award, our Most Improved Player. This list was a little bit shorter, and I think you know, that's a good thing, but I also think guys recognize that you know, the individual that won this award did an unbelievable job of there was some adversity in terms of, hey, we're going to switch you positions after never doing this position for a really long time. And we're going to need you to do it really well. And I don't think, you know, it wasn't quite unanimous, but it was pretty darn close. And I think that says a lot about this guy specifically. But our most improved player from the 2019 season, Zach Gores. Our next award is the Iron Man Award. This one was unanimous. For a lot of right reasons. He's an unbelievable teammate. He's an unbelievable player. He's already been up here once. And our Iron Man Award, a guy that just lives in the weight room and does everything right, Tyler Wagner. Our next award, Special Teams Player of the Year. Our special teams this year, outside of maybe one game, were unbelievable. Coach Foster and what he brought to our team in terms of schematically and our guys just executing really, really well. I mean, I think we had 6 block punts, maybe 7, multiple touchdowns. I mean, we blocked 3 punts in one game. That poor kid at presentation, nice kid, but had a tough day. But you know, I mean, just this, you know, blocking that many punts and you know, having the number 2 kick returner in the country in terms of total yards and average says a lot about our special teams and a lot of deserving people. But one guy that I think, you know, got kind of thrust into a different role and expected a lot out of him and really had a tremendous year, especially from his freshman year to now. Special Teams Player of the Year, Tate Gale. Our next award, Offensive MVP. And again, you know, there was some tremendous performances by guys and tremendous things that guys were doing on the offensive side of the ball and on the team, and it's really hard to pick one. These are the ones that when you look at it, it's so many guys that you can pick from, but one guy that I think was really the catalyst for what we were doing offensively, asked him to do every single thing possible, and he did it. Did an unbelievable job, and expecting a ton from this guy in the future. MVP offensively 2019, Spencer Negebauer. Our defensive MVP, again, A lot of guys that had tremendous seasons, tremendous stats. But I think one guy that really it clicked. It really clicked for him, especially halfway through the season, and big plays that we needed, and all of a sudden they were happening very, very consistently. And somebody that's going to be somebody that we're really counting on coming up in this next season, defensive MVP Cody Reichelt. We have two more awards here, probably our most prestigious awards, our team MVP and then our No Bull award, but we're going to talk about our team MVP first. This guy's been the team MVP for a lot longer than one season. This guy from day one, I remember, this guy coming in the first day of fall camp, and we were doing a competition, and here's a true freshman stepping up in front of the line saying, hey, I'm gonna do this right now. And he never wavered from that. After 5 years, a lot of doubt, a lot of questions about this guy throughout his whole career, and I think he proved every single person wrong. Our team MVP, and I don't think it's even a question, Luke Lauenburg. Our last award, our No Bull Award. This is also a weekly award that we give out, and we give it out for maybe, it can be a practice play or a play during a game. Really somebody that goes above and beyond, whether that's a great block, a great tackle, scoring a touchdown, and this award really exemplifies somebody that's willing to do those things all the time. And I think our guys got it right when they voted on this. Again, a lot of guys mentioning this, a lot of guys nominated for this, a lot of guys got some votes, but the No Bull Award for 2019 goes to Mitch Johnson. So here are all your award winners from the 2019 season. You're leading. All right. I'm going to go over I'm going to recognize our seniors right now. So again, when we call your name, you guys come up here, and we got a picture for everybody of their last game as a group picture. And so I'm excited to give that to these guys. But just want to talk about this group really quickly. Okay, 17 total guys, and that's a huge senior class. That's a really big senior class, and all these guys were here from day one. I know Tyler corrected me on this and said, well, technically I transferred, and I said, stop talking about that. But because he's a Mitchell guy, we just say you're just here. But all these guys were here from day one, having fifth-year seniors stick around. It was an unbelievable group. Out of the 15 guys that were suited up this season, 8 out of the 15 were asked to switch positions at some point. Some of them in their senior year. And again, not one guy complained. There's not one guy in this group that ever complained, at least to me. Maybe Manny. Manny maybe complained to me a little bit, but other than Manny, I think that's about it. But these guys, quite possibly the most selfless group that we've ever had. And that's saying a lot, because we've had some really, really good kids come through this group. We've had some really good groups come through this group. But top to bottom, this group is a pretty special group, and they're true team players. And like I said, the reason that our team was a lot better than where we were is because of this group. And so we're going to be talking about these guys for a long time. some of the guys in this group are some of the best players to ever play here, some of the best teammates that we've ever had here, and we're going to miss this group a lot. And so we call your name, come on up, maybe mention a couple things about you. Most of them will be good, but our first couple seniors that we want to mention, Miles Burkink and Tyler Larson. Talked about these guys a little bit at the beginning. We could not have done what we needed to do as a coaching staff without these two guys. Tyler was an offensive guy that we asked to move to the defensive side to help us out, and then all of a sudden he's doing our signals on game day, which is a pretty big deal. And so the amount of work that these guys were doing, practice was set up. They're out there at 2 o'clock, 2:30, whatever, anytime the fields needs painted. All those things happen because of these two guys. Unbelievable kids, unbelievable work ethic, and we appreciate them an unbelievable amount. So thank you guys for everything that you did. Our next guy, okay, we're just going to go numerically here, Ethan Gaulke. Ethan Gaulke is one of those guys that switched positions, played running back for a while, and then all of a sudden he moves to linebacker, and turns out he's an all-conference guy a couple times. And Ethan's a guy that did an unbelievable job for us, a guy that we're going to miss a lot, and a guy that took a lot of snaps, and now all of a sudden he's an alum. And so proud of Ethan and what he's done. Mitch Johnson. Mitch Johnson. Mitch was a guy, switched positions, played running back. We recruited a lot of running backs, and then we move them to defense. And that's, we got 3 guys on this list that are in that boat. But Mitch was an absolute treat to coach. I made the joke a couple years ago with Tyrell about I've never been harder on anybody than Tyrell, and Tyrell deserved it, quite frankly. Mitch didn't, but Mitch. There wasn't a lot of things that didn't go through our DB group that didn't go through Mitch first, and a lot of meetings, a lot of closed door meetings, Mitch just always did it every single time, and he was an unbelievable joy to coach. It was fun to watch him progress and pick some balls off and make some plays, story. Okay, so Mitch got hurt in the Jamestown game, and obviously it looked bad. Mitch, it didn't look good, but that's how Mitch played. He practiced that way, he played that way, and so I go over there, and I'm obviously not. I always try to lighten the mood a little bit, and it wasn't going well, and so he's getting looked at, and obviously once we realized he's doing okay, I couldn't help but notice the noises coming from the Jamestown sideline. Well, the guy that he had hit, I didn't know what was bubbling or what there was some weird sounds coming from their sideline, and so I think Mitch was a little lighter in the pants, but he got the best of that guy. So I'm glad it worked out and played his last game. Next, we got Parker Evans, another guy, switched positions. Switched just about every positions outside of defense. Played quarterback for a little bit, right? Probably didn't running back, not necessarily running back. Maybe a little wildcat on the scout team, but Parker turned himself into a pretty darn good tight end and a guy that we're going to miss on the offensive side of the ball, and appreciate what he did. Jackson Deedy, okay. Never had a bigger safety than Deedy so far, so that's a good thing. But we're also trying to figure out, some of these guys in here that need to stretch out and fill out a little bit. But Deedy had an unbelievable season. And I'm going to say this about Deedy, and we've talked about this before. I think if you would have asked Deedy as a freshman, and if you can go back and say, hey, Deedy, you're going to turn into a pretty darn good football player. You're going to start a lot of games. You're going to make some big plays coming out of Menno Marion. We maybe would have thought twice about that, huh, Deedy? Deedy had to teach him what 11-man football was, and he learned it, that's for sure. And so I'm going to miss Jackson for sure. Our next guy, Brandon Slama. Slama, that's his first career pick right there. Excited to have that. But he did score a touchdown as a freshman. Remember that? I do remember that. You were a lot faster back then. But tremendous season for Brandon. I mean, these three guys, these DB guys, a lot of things that we do defensively depends on our DBs, and Mitch and Jackson and Brandon, and those guys did an unbelievable job this year. They kept our group going in the right direction. Great coaches, and they did a tremendous job. Chaden Fitzsimmons, okay? What do you say about Chaden? No, there's no height jokes coming, Chaden, so don't worry about that at all. But loved having Chaden on the team. An unbelievable player. Every opportunity that he had, he earned and deserved, and he made the most out of every single opportunity. And loved seeing him on the field, loved seeing him run the football. And it was great having Chaden around. Always a positive attitude. Always a guy that you can count on, and a guy that was going to work his tail off, and that says a lot about him. Luke Lauenburg, okay, did an unbelievable job. Like I said, kind of mentioned him a little bit. Passed his dad on the all-time rushing list, so we bumped Troy out of the number 10 spot, which I'm sure there's going to be some conversations about that, maybe at home. But Luke's going to be talked about a long time here. One of the best players that's ever played here, deserves every ounce of recognition that he gets. Having over 2,500 yards in a career is an unbelievable thing and an unbelievable accomplishment, and very proud of Luke. Our next guy is Zach Gores, okay? Gores actually talked about this with our team a little bit in terms of how this transition to linebacker was going to go, and he wasn't too excited about it, quite frankly. He was not excited about it, but again, never complained, and all of a sudden he ends up having an unbelievable career. Scores a touchdown on defense, picks 2 balls off. I think he was in the top 5 in terms of tackles at the end of the year, and for a guy that hadn't played linebacker for a long time and stepping into a starting role, did an unbelievable job. Okay, one of those other running backs that we switched to linebacker. So, Emmanuel Christopher, Manny, we're gonna miss Manny. I'm gonna miss Manny. Manny kept me on my toes daily. Manny's the only player that I think I've ever coached that had more ideas about our defense than I did. So, and some of them were even good, But no, Manny was a spark plug for us. Wore his heart on his sleeve every single time. You knew what you were gonna get from Manny every single day, and an unbelievable kid. Gonna be very, very successful, and appreciate Manny and what he did for our program. Ben Gustad. Another guy, tight end, moves to offensive line because whatever's best for the team, Ben's going to do, and he did it and turned himself into a pretty darn good offensive lineman. Doesn't say anything ever, and it is by far the most annoying thing about Ben Gustad. But if that's the only thing that we're going to talk about in terms of a negative, I can handle that. Love Ben to death. Guy that's on our leadership council, somebody that we really counted on a daily basis, and Ben has actually mentioned for spring ball that if we need guys to come in and take reps in practice, he would do it. That's the type of kid Ben Gustad is, and we're still evaluating that. We may do that. So our next guy, Tyler Wagner. You can see the awards and accolades there in terms of scholar athlete, all conference. I mean, this guy's the total package, and we've had some really, really good linebackers play here. And we probably talk about those guys a lot defensively in terms of what they mean to our program. The Jeff Mossens, the Adam Bormans, the Brady Bontes. Well, pretty soon Tyler Wagner's going to be in that same conversation when you're mentioning guys and guys that just did it the right way all the time. We're gonna try to find a guy. I mean, our defense is built around Tyler Wagner's position, and I mean he was one of the best for sure to ever do it, and the guy that we're going to talk about for a long time. Matthew Davis, switched positions. Matt was not excited about switching either, but he did it. Played offensive line. I mean, this guy was starting in games at our nose position defensively, and we had to move him. And I think it turned out pretty well. We're excited about what Matt was able to do for us. Did an unbelievable job, and then all of a sudden we find him starting games for us on the offensive line. Tremendous kid, and appreciate everything he's done for our program. Zach Ryherd, our last fifth-year guy that we're mentioning here, a guy that's been around here for a long time, and would give anything to this program, and he's paid us back probably more than we've ever given to him in terms of his experience here and what he's done for us. I mean, he's the definition of what bleeding blue is, and you know, looking for a coaching job, and whatever we can do to help him out, we're going to do, and you know, just the constant presence of DWU football. I mean, you want to know what DWU football is, you look at Zach Ryherd and how he does things, and that's what it is, and we appreciate that. Alan Murtick switched positions. Kept him on the defensive side, though. Played linebacker, played in some games at linebacker, and then all of a sudden had to be a D lineman. Really learned, I think, how to play D-line this year. Really learned what he was capable of doing. Obviously banged up a little bit at the start, but a guy that really did a good job of being receptive and being coachable and turned himself into a really, really good football player. And we're going to miss Alan. We're going to miss Alan in terms of his production on the field. Not going to miss him in practice a whole lot. No, I'm kidding. That's a joke. I'm totally kidding about that. But an unbelievable kid. Did a great job for us, and we're gonna need some production out of that spot for sure. And last and certainly not least, number 99, Lucas Chase. Another guy switched positions, came in as a linebacker, moved into defensive line, and needed a guy to come in and do it. And Lucas from day one never wavered, did everything. I mean, this guy probably watched more film, asked more questions, got yelled at about doing something wrong, and fixed it immediately. Probably one of the most coachable people, one of the best teammates we've ever had, and obviously had a little bit of a scare, and I don't say that lightly, but to see him back on the field for the last 2 games was a pretty big deal. It's a really big deal, and deserves every ounce of recognition and credit. And you know, a guy that graduated early because of just who he is as a person and as an athlete, as a student, and so to have him back was a lot. That was a lot. That was a big deal. So couldn't be more proud of this group. These kids. I mean, I could talk for days about them. Every single one of them. I mean, they're unbelievable people. They're unbelievable teammates. They're the reason we're going to get back to where we need to be, and we're going to reference these guys a lot, and it's going to be in a positive way. And so going to miss these guys. I'm sure I'll be getting some phone calls and text messages about what we should be doing, and some of those things, you know, we'll listen to. But these guys are great kids and great people, and so let's give these guys a hand.
Just on behalf of all of us senior guys, I can't say enough about our coaching staff and the men they are, and their families and how much they do for us. But specifically Coach Simple and just the investment he has in this program. You can tell day in and day out he's there, he's bought in, he's willing to go to work for all of us. And I don't think there's any words that you can say to thank him for that or commemorate him for that. So as a token of appreciation from the seniors, this is for you, Coach.
Well, it's already starting. They were just getting off the stage, and Gore says, "Hey, I'm going to say something," so they get to tell me what to do already. So, but I'll listen to all those guys for sure. Got a couple other things that we just wanted to mention here. If you want to take a picture of this or whatever, we got some dates coming up that we want to just make everybody aware of. Also put our schedule up. I'm not sure if that's posted online or not, but so everybody can kind of take a look at our schedule. It's a 10-game schedule. We're not playing presentation. Well, presentation isn't playing us, I guess, so it's interesting. But So we'll have a 10-game schedule as of right now, and so you can take a look at that. But just some important dates that we wanted to just mention to everybody. We have a signing day party tomorrow at Blarney's from 1 to 3. Everybody's welcome. It's kind of like an open house. Just come and go as you please. We'll have a few of our recruits there and their families, and they'll get introduced at the basketball game. So kind of an exciting time. We're really turning the page with where we're at right now and moving into those new guys. And we got a good group of kids, and we're excited about that. Spring ball starts March 20th, which is kind of crazy to think about. We're a little over a month away. April 4th, we'll have a practice and a scrimmage and tee that everybody's welcome to come to. But our spring game will be April 18th. That's a Saturday, tentatively scheduled for about a 4 o'clock start time, and that'll be at the practice field. And then we have our fundraiser, our trap, shoot, and golf tournament, July 11th, and that's going to be a one-day event instead of a 2-day. So we'll do everything on Saturday. Love to see everybody out there for that. And then our home opener and season opener, August 27th, against Dakota State. If you have any service day projects or things that you need help with, let us know. That'll be August 30th. And then homecoming versus Briarcliff on the 26th, and then senior day and family day will be August 31st, October 31st, our last home game. So a little bit earlier, which is not necessarily fun, but it's kind of the way it worked out. And so I wanted to make sure that we put those dates and times up there so everybody was aware of what we had going on. We got a little highlight film that we'll kind of show at the end here, but just a couple other announcements. Any award winner guys or anybody that wants to stick around, we'll move the tables out of the way and take some pictures up here. Want to make sure everybody gets that opportunity. The other thing is kind of the same song and dance with any event we do in here. If you could help us pick up the tables and chairs and get the other chairs set up, it doesn't take too long, but we'd appreciate that. And then hope to see everybody, tomorrow and throughout the season. But just kind of putting a bow on this whole thing and where we're at. We got an unbelievable group of kids, and everybody in here is a part of that. And everybody in here has some type of investment in our program, and what that means to us is a huge deal. And I can't thank you enough. I can't thank our coaches enough. I probably don't say it publicly enough. We have, and I've said this about other staffs, but these guys are different. We have an unbelievable coaching staff. We have a group of guys that work so hard. This is probably the first staff that I've had here that I can truly tell somebody, hey, this is what we need done, and I have zero concern about it getting done and probably being better than I ever anticipated it being anyway. I mean, you look at our recruiting stuff, you look at our recruiting class, you look at what we're doing in the community, you look at what we're doing academically. That's a direct correlation to what our coaches are doing and the work that they're doing and the investment they're putting in our kids. And I appreciate the award 100%, but this thing's going to go in our office for all of our coaches because, these guys, they have families, they have other things they could be doing, and they choose to be here. And just like everybody else that's here. And so we appreciate that. That's why this place is special. I don't want to make light of that because it is a big deal, and we appreciate everybody and what you do for us. So with that, we'll turn on the highlight film. It's about, I think, 9 minutes long, and then we'll get things cleaned up. But we appreciate everything, and thanks for coming. All right, that's all we got. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. And if you could help us clean up a little bit, that'd be great.